What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and today I'm going to be talking about two Glocks and 45 ACP, which one I prefer, the ammo that I actually carry in them. And the ammo makes a big difference with 45 being a shorter, fatter round. So we're going to touch on that, why it's important to use certain rounds, especially if you live in certain areas, and why you do benefit from 45 over 9mm. Now, mainly, my carry guns are 9mm, but I honestly like the 45 Glocks a lot. And like I said, we're going to touch on the benefits of the ammo that I carry with it. That makes the whole difference, right? On top of that, shootability. Are they reliable? Accessories for them. And also magazine options. That is a big thing. We're going to touch on holsters, optics, everything. So here we are. Two Glock 30s. But they are different. This is a Glock 30 SF or shortened frame. So the dimensions of the frame itself are smaller, making it a little bit easier to carry with people with a little bit smaller hands. For me, they feel pretty good. I do wish it was a little bit wider. I wear size large gloves, but feels pretty dang good in the hand. Now the Glock 30 SF has that full width slide. The difference is this right here being a Glock 30 S. This has still the reduced dimension on the frame, but it also has a reduced slide width, if you can see that. It has the same exact slide and width as a Glock 36, which is the single stack in 45 that was put out by Glock a while back. You see that? That's literally the only difference. Now we're going to talk about how big of a difference does it make while shooting, all that. When you think about it, having a thicker, heavier slide reduces recoil. And it does, that's true. But Glocks in 45 handle recoil just ridiculous. There is none. So getting something like this, the 30S, that's thinner, a little bit lighter for carry, is my preferred 45 Glock. This is how I prefer to carry it, and this is my new carry option that I didn't think I'd ever want to carry, but this has slowly climbed to the top of the list. I mean, I love this thing. It's been reliable as can be, and I want to say another thing. Both these handguns have never had a single issue. Doesn't matter what ammo, where I'm shooting one-handed, off-handed, doesn't matter. Zero reliability issues. Now, obviously, it's a Glock, so you're going to want to upgrade sights. Right here, I have True Glow sights. They're just 3-dot tritium sights. Get you a little look at that. There's a little bit of light coming through a window over there, but still you can see how nice those are. And then right here, I'm using a Dove mount system from Dove Mounts. It allows me to mount a 407K on that thin slide, and it basically sits flush with the edges, which I really like. And on top of that, it doesn't stick out too much at all, in my opinion. I think that's reasonable, and for carry, I have no problem with printing. We're about to touch on ammo in a second. Holster. Blacksmith Tactical IWB holster with a monoblock, a claw, and this I did not put a wedge on. Because it has a little bit longer barrel than my Glock 26 and stuff like that, I have not needed to put a wedge on it in order to conceal it. It conceals just fine. You can use code SPN for 10% off at Blacksmith Tactical if that helps you out. And also with the optic, I make no money off of this, but code SPNF at Optics Planet. You can use that code on anything there. It'll help save you guys some money. That's the reason I did it. You guys can save a little bit of cash. And yeah, that helps with the way things are going. So I actually love this dot mounted on there. With a 45, a lot of people anticipate the recoil, so they throw shots. With a dot, it allows you to just relax a little bit, get on target, pull that trigger, don't worry about recoil. The recoil, I would say, is, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe like a 9mm Micro 9, if that makes sense. So like a Hellcat, obviously it feels different. But in terms of being able to manage it, that's what I would compare it to. It is not bad whatsoever. Everything just takes practice. If you're not going to the range, you're not practicing, you're not going out to your local course or outdoor or taking defensive pistol classes, yes, it's going to feel like some recoil. But if you actually train and shoot with it and actually shoot your carry gun, most people, shoot their big handguns, go to the range, and then carry a Hellcat. And then they say it's snappy. If you actually train with that handgun, you'll learn it, and it'll be like nothing else. This, we've already put a couple hundred rounds through it since I got it. This will be at a couple thousand by the end of the year. So in a couple months, it'll be at a couple thousand, and it's been absolutely flawless. I love this thing. They're both great. This does have a little bit less recoil, but in my opinion, I'd prefer the less mass, less weight. I just do. But they're both great handguns. I trust them both with my life, and I would carry both. And what's nice is they both fit in the same holster. That's the SF with the thick slide. And here's the 30S because it uses the retention on the trigger guard, right? Absolutely love this holster and setup. Now let's talk about ammo. Then we'll touch on mags and we'll get out of here. Ammo. Especially in wintertime and with a slower, fatter round, this is a heck of a round right here. It's 135 grain. So you're getting, about 2/3 the weight of your average 45 round, which is perfect. You're not going to be even less than that. Sorry, about, a little less than half. You're not going to be walking around with all this weight. When you're used to carrying a 9, they're lighter rounds. This is sitting at around 9mm weight, so it saves you a ton versus your average 230 grain, which we'll touch on. This is just a really nice touch. On top of that, it goes much faster than the 230 grains and stuff like that. So you're getting better speed, and with a solid projectile like this G9 round right here, it's ridiculous. So more speed, solid projectile, even though it's a fatter round, bigger hole, but you also get really good penetration, and it dumps a ton of energy. It's absolutely ridiculous. This is my go-to carry round for a Glock 30S, especially in winter. In winter where I live, people are going to be wearing Carhartt jackets, duck jackets, multiple layers, overalls. This is what you want. This is going to be just an absolute animal of a round, and that's why I carry it. That's why it's in the small mag. What's interesting is, if I put this in, people are going to complain, but it is cleared. Finger will stay off the trigger. 2 fingers is what I get on it with this setup. I have zero problem shooting it. None whatsoever. I feel completely confident with it. I can draw just fine. And I shoot groupings like this at, 10, 15 yards. This thing is an absolute animal. Now, if you want a really light carry, here's 78 grain rounds. This is Civil Liberty Defense. And what's interesting is they go 1,500 feet per second. So these are about 1/3 of the weight of a 230 grain round. Therefore, it's extremely light, making this setup right here really light. If you actually look up the weight of the 30S and the 30SF, it's not that heavy. It's actually pretty interesting when you look at it like that. This is with a 10-round OEM mag, and this allows for 2.5 fingers. A lot of people like that third finger being on there for support, and it just feels good in the hand. A lot of people do have the pinching, though, from the gap. I've never had the pinching, but we'll touch on that solution here in a second. But 10 plus 1, 11 rounds of this going 1,500 feet per second. This sounds like a cannon went off. These are amazing rounds. They're light, so it saves you a lot of weight while carrying, and they're reliable as can be. Last but not least is another 10-round OEM mag, and these are Winchester Rangers. Now, these are going to be harder to find, but these are 230 grains, so full weight. Just beasts. I mean, just ridiculous. These, though, dump majority of their energy when they hit. So that's how these work. These typically aren't a massive penetrating round, but trust me, getting hit by these is just going to be dumb. It's just dumb at that point. It would be the worst thing in the world. It would be devastating. That's all I got to say. But anyways, all 3 of these work great. I prefer these for main carry because 45 is a slow round. But once you get in those faster speeds, something like this is perfect for actual penetration. And then for home defense or something like that, that's where I would go with these massive 230 grain rounds. I don't carry those. Now, to avoid the pinching, here's some mag options right here. Cleared, obviously. This right here is a Pierce grip extension. This feels really good in the hand, and it gets rid of the pinching for most people as it comes up higher, so your finger doesn't have like the fatty tissue hanging up, and you get 2.5 fingers on it, and it feels very ergonomic and good in the hand. Next up right here is an NDZ base plate. This is metal, but a very light metal. This is the one I would prefer if you want a more comfortable grip extension. The ergonomics are on point. It locks your fingers in perfectly here, and that little lip just supports your hand really, really well when gripping on the handgun. I actually like it, and it's going to be a +1 as well. And the Pierce, I believe, where'd that Pierce go? The Pierce is a +1 as well. So it just gives you that little bit more texturing and grip versus the OEM version, like you can see there, right? Just a little bit more texturing and a little bit smaller. So this is really nice feeling in the hand for ergonomics. Then this is a +3 right here from SLR Rifle Works. Making this setup right here 12 + 1 for 13 rounds, a full grip. Now, another thing about these Glock 30s that I didn't mention, I wouldn't do it in the S, but if you got the SF, you can convert this to 10mm. You can make this a Glock 29 using a conversion barrel. And if you were to do that, I would go with KKM or Barstow for a conversion barrel. You can make this a Glock 29 or a bear defense handgun. Even though people have defended their lives against bears with 45 successfully, people I know have taken down horses with 45s, coyotes, whatever. So it does work, but, you know, for woods defense, I do like my Glock 29. But you can convert this to a 29, which is awesome. Anyways, like I said, 12 plus 1 for 13 rounds of 45 ACP in a Glock 19 size setup, while being shorter this way. Same width, just a little thicker down here. And yes, this is a tank of a setup right here, an absolute beast. Especially if you paired it with the G9 rounds, it would just be absolutely devastating. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love this handgun. Thanks for watching.